Hey guys, just wanted to show you kind of my process for memorizing scripture. Last time we discussed memorizing Romans 11:33 through 36, and we're going to do that just verse by verse, probably about a verse a week. We might couple verse 34 and 35 together since they are sort of a pair. But ideally, by next month, we'd like to have this memorized because it'll give us something to hide in our hearts and have accessible to our minds, specifically about the character of God. So I wanted to show you my process. So I've written down this verse in the NIV, which I think is a great version to memorize scripture in. I read in the ESV, but I like to memorize in the NIV a lot of the times. So at the top, I wrote Romans 11:33, since that's where we're starting. And I think it's really important to write it down yourself and maybe even write it down a few times. That's one of the most important aspects, I think, or one of the most helpful things you can do with scripture memory. But what I might do with this is just verbally out loud, not just in my head, but verbally out loud, say Romans 11:33. Oh, the depth of the riches of the wisdom and knowledge of God, how unsearchable his judgments and his paths beyond tracing out. Romans 11:33. Notice I put the tag, the address, both before and after, and that's sort of kind of a mental cue. So I'm going to keep reading that a few times over and over. I'm also going to think about it, try to make a picture in my head of what this actually means. I'm meditating on it. Oh, the depth of the riches. So then I'm picturing this deep pool of gold. And what is that deep pool of gold? Well, it's the wisdom and knowledge of God. So that's this word picture of how vast and amazing the wisdom and knowledge of God is. And because it's so vast, how unsearchable are God's judgments and his paths beyond our tracing out, beyond our ability to sort of figure out on our own, because he is so beyond us. Now, that may seem like adding a whole lot to an already difficult task of memorizing scripture, but I think it's actually very helpful to try to understand what this verse is saying so that when you try to recite it later, you're not just reciting words, but you actually have an idea in your mind that's helping you recall these words as well. So eventually what I'll do is cover things up. So I may do it like this, just that last part. So let's see if I can actually do that. I don't know. Romans 11:33. Oh, the depth of the riches of the wisdom and knowledge of God, how unsearchable his judgments and his paths beyond tracing out. Yeah, check me out. Romans 11:33. And then I do that a few more times. I've got all week to do this, so I'm not going to feel too rushed. But eventually I'm going to close this one down, and I'm going to try to recite the same thing, but without seeing those last two. And then I'm going to do this. And then lastly, I'm going to do this until eventually I've got the whole thing covered, and I'm saying Romans 11:33. Oh, the depths of the riches and the wisdom. See, I'm going to work on it. But you can see how just going through that process, just really getting your mind saturated in this text is going to help you memorize it. And I think you really are going to be surprised, just as you put in the work and the effort to memorize this, to write it down, to say it out loud, to spend, maybe 5-10 minutes every day just on this verse, and maybe a few times throughout the day as you have some free time, as you're waiting in line for something, as you are getting ready for bed. I'm really excited for how I really believe the Lord is going to use this verse to bless you, to teach you about himself, to bring you to a greater awareness of how wonderful and amazing he is. So if you have any questions about that, just let me know. Y'all have a great day. Bye.